December the 2nd. Wait for you, Madam Secretary. The time is now 6 o'clock for our regular scheduled meeting. If I can have roll call, please.
Vicky Bowman.
Present.
Trustee Kraft.
Here.
I'm present. Trustee Garrett.
Present.
Trustee Gross.
Yes, I'm present. Here, all the above.
Present.
And Treasurer Terry.
Present.
That passes 7-0.
All right, thank you. If we can all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve our agenda?
So moved.
Support by Garrett.
It's been moved by VP Bowman, supported by Trustee Garrett for the approval of the agenda. Any questions? No. Roll call.
I'm sorry.
Yes. No, that's okay.
Trustee Kraft,
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Trustee Garrett,
Yes.
Trustee Gross, President Hannah,
Yes.
Treasurer Terry,
Yes.
and VP Bowman.
Yes.
That passes 7-0.
Thank you. All right, moving on down to our awards and recognition. Dr. Leverett, the meeting is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Hannah. Good evening, trustees. At this time, we will have a great treat musical from our music department. I'd like to call Connor and Mr. DeLuca in, along with our students who will play 2 selections for us this evening before we go into our student recognitions.
All right.
Where would you like us? Oh, right up here? Perfect.
This bathroom real quick, man. I'm gonna get some notes.
Can we take scenes from the diet so we can watch?
Do you want to? I'm not scared.
Very talented, that's
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
For those of you who may not know me, my name is Connor Bentley. I am the band, choir, theater. The list just keeps getting added more and more every year. Basically, I run performing arts over at Pontiac High School. What you just heard today was our holiday quintet. This is a group that started last year when we were asked by the city of Pontiac to perform at the Christmas tree lighting downtown. So it was very DIY. We kind of threw it together at the last second. Basically the week of, we practiced that entire week, and then we're like, let's see what happens. Well, we really enjoyed it, so much so that they've asked us back pretty much any year we want to go. So we will be doing that this Friday again. And then going forward, we wanted to sort of expand it a little bit. So this year, obviously, I had reached out to Cynthia Wright, I think back in September, inquiring about if we could come in and just play for all of you so you guys could see sort of what we're doing on the ground level with some of the resources that we've gotten from you guys, sort of showcasing here's what we're actually doing, on a day-to-day basis. So this is very much a new thing. We're going to keep adding on performances in the future. We're looking at maybe doing some, local nursing home performances. I know Great Lakes Crossing has a really robust program of getting local bands to come in and play for them. Usually give out like gift cards to the kids and stuff. I know Mr. DeLuca has done that in the past. This is my third year here in the district. I'm very happy to be here. These kids have put in a ton of work. Not just in my varsity band where these kids are from, but my brand new theater kids, my choir kids. There's a lot going on here, and I wanted to make sure that when I came here, I wanted to showcase sort of what they could do, because it's one thing hearing it from me. I could talk all day about how great they're doing and how wonderful the program that we're building is, but actually coming here and playing for you, that really is what it's all about. So I just wanted to thank you all for letting me come here to sort of share with you guys sort of what we're doing. I know Mr. DeLuca wanted to say a couple of words too, so I will let him do that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'll be real brief. So this is all Mr. Bentley's program here. I'm just here to support him and help out if he needed something. But anyway, so kudos to Mr. Bentley and his kids too. So good job, guys. Sounded really good.
Thank you.
Yeah. But I teach over at the ITA. I have the band and string program over there, and we're doing great things in building and trying to build 20% each year, and we exceeded that this year. So I'm really happy that our program is growing. We're doing a lot with, in terms of marching band with the Pontiac High School program, so we're involved with the football games, and we have a parade coming up this weekend. If anyone's interested in coming out, that we'll be participating in. It's the Holiday Extravaganza Parade. And then Mr. Bentley and I both have our winter concerts coming up as well. So mine is on Thursday, December 12th. Mr. Bentley's on
Wednesday, December 18th.
Wednesday, December 18th. So anyway, if anyone would like to come out, that would be great. And we're showcasing our groups for those shows. So thank you for having us. We appreciate it. And hopefully we'll see you guys at one of our events. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bentley, you guys were awesome. Can you introduce the students and tell us what instrument they play?
Absolutely. So we have Chloe, oh, sorry.
Thank you.
I'm not used to this. We have Chloe Williams on tenor sax. She is a freshman, so 9th grade. We have Deja Rubio on the clarinet. She is a junior, so 11th grade. We have Jadiel Leon. He is on the alto sax, and he is in 10th grade.
Nice.
And we have Demetrius Adams, who is a 10th grader, who is on the trumpet.
Wow. Awesome. So we can look forward to them coming back.
I hope so.
All right. Trustee Kraft?
Yeah, I'd like to thank you for coming on and entertaining us today. And thank you for putting in your time and work and doing a great job, both of you instructors. I would like to elaborate on my experience back in high school. I was in the a cappella choir, Pontiac Central back in the day. I can't carry a note in a suitcase now, but one of the things that I can always look back on was the times that we visit nursing homes and elementary schools, and we performed in front of them. These are experiences you will have for the rest of your lives. I can remember back all the different places and the smiles we put on people's faces, because we had one of the best a cappella choirs in the state at that time. But, you know, like I said, get this experience, learn these instruments, because you never know how far they're going to take you, and the sky's the limit. Thank you for performing.
Did any other trustees want to say? Yes.
We had the opportunity, Dr. Hannah and I went to the one concert that you had, where you showcased ITA and high school came together. You gonna have that again?
Yep.
Or are you doing something
So
separate?
we're doing that every year.
Listen, that was the best concert I've ever seen, ever. You guys did Grover Washington, Mr. Magic. And I was dancing, and my wife made me sit down. But it was great. And then we had a jazz performance here.
Yeah, we did.
Remember that?
ITA.
And to this day, I still talk to some of the students that were here playing with you. And some have gone on to Oakland University. And I'm saying, this is about gaining relationships, what you do, and maintaining them. And music and arts is so important, because I remember a day we didn't have it. And I was talking back in the early 2000s, let's get this thing back together. And you guys came in, and you just kept going forward and moving forward. I love this. Let's keep doing this. And people, please come out and see your children, whether they're your children or not, by blood. They're your children here in this Pontiac School District. So support them, because I'm telling you, I had a great time at that concert, and I'm looking forward to the next 2, 3, 4, 5, how many is it? Next 6 years, I'm looking forward to some concerts. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. VP Bowman.
I just want to say good job. Thank you all so much. It's very rare that we get a little bit of entertainment here at these board meetings. So thank you all for your beautiful performance. And it lets me know that there's still chance to grow. I think I want to take up an instrument of some sort, and then I'll be looking to you all to help me. So thank you all. And this just continues to show that Pontiac is more than just great athletics. Pontiac, thank you all so much for being students, because you could be anywhere, but you choose to be here in Pontiac School District, and we love that. Thank you so much, and keep up the good work.
Thank you. Both.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. What a great way to kick off the holiday season. And I'll tell you, whether we're talking about all of the arts programs that we're having here, or whether we're talking about Kaleo, Accent Pontiac, spoken word, it's just really an opportunity to showcase the collective spirit and collaboration of talent that we have in the district, and I'm very proud of that. With that being said, moving on, this evening we have several students from Owen that we're going to be recognizing. And the first student is Aubrey Akins. Aubrey comes to school each day ready to learn. During lessons, she is attentive, focused, and on task. Aubrey has a solid kindergarten skill set to help her increase her learning. Every homework assignment has been returned. She follows directions, assists others, and seeks help when needed. Her classmates look up to her. Aubrey is an excellent leader, and yes, that is true. Leadership starts early. So we appreciate you so much, Aubrey. Is Aubrey here this evening? Come on down, Aubrey. There she is. So as she's coming, in recognition of Aubrey's outstanding leadership as a kindergarten at Owen, she is great, and we are so proud of you, Aubrey, given the second day of December 2024 in Pontiac, Michigan. Congratulations, Aubrey. This next student is Brooklyn Grant. Brooklyn is a hard-working first-grade student who has good attendance and follows our classroom rules on a daily basis. She is kind, respectful, and responsible. She comes to school each and every day ready to learn, and because of this, she is excelling in all subject areas. In October, she was recognized as a champion of character and is now the November Student of the Month. We are so proud of her accomplishments and know that she will continue to hear great things about her this school year. Congratulations, Brooklyn. Come on down, Brooklyn.
So cute. Come around, Brooklyn. Here you go, honey. This is yours. You're welcome.
Let's talk about third grader Sarah Pomachand. She is incredibly focused on her academics and excels in the classroom. She is a kind-hearted girl who is always the first person to lend a hand to assist anyone who needs it. She makes new students feel welcome and helps them to get acquainted with the classroom and routines. She is a role model to her peers and excellently demonstrates how being focused, making positive choices, and showing kindness can help you succeed. We are so very proud of you, Sarah Pomachand. Is she here?
Congratulations, Sarah.
You're welcome.
We are proud of fourth grader Pharrell Humphrey. He is helpful and is a leader in the classroom. He loves technology and is always motivated to try new learning opportunities. He loves math. Keep up the good work, Pharrell, and congratulations to you. Is Pharrell Humphrey here?
They are. Yes, they are.
Fifth grader Jameer Cordero has been an outstanding student at Owen Elementary. He has maintained a high quest for learning this school year and is a model citizen. Jameer often helps others and is a good friend to everyone in the classroom. And Jameer, we are so proud of you. Jameer, congratulations.
All right, Jameer.
All right.
Here you go, son.
Thank you, and I just want to say to our students and our parents and family and friends that are here, just thank you so much for entrusting Pontiac School District to educate your students. They are excited, they are empowered, and we are so very proud to share this honor with you this evening. Thank you so much.
Yes. Yep. Trust.
Hey, hang on, girl. We're gonna do something.
Yeah, all right.
All right, trustees, any words for our little people?
You know I love the little people, and I root for the little people every time. Congratulations. Congratulations on your awards. Congratulations, and thank you, parents, for bringing these kids and preparing these kids to come learn at our schools. And just thank you, and thank you for being for Pontiac students.
Yeah. All right, any other trustees?
I just wanted to tell you all, congratulations, sky's the limit. You can be and do anything you want. Just keep up the great work.
Yes. VP Bowman? Oh, Treasurer Terry, did you have something?
Yes, I just want to say congratulations to all of you young students. The little pharaoh or little phoenixes are growing up. As they mentioned before, leadership starts at an early age. So all of you guys have that in you. Don't let nobody take that from you. Continue to grow, continue to be that example, and we look forward to seeing you guys as you mature and grow through the Pontiac School District. Thank you.
All right, VP Bowman, you have something?
Again, congratulations, and thank you all so much to students and parents for being representation of Pontiac School District, and a special shout out to family over there. Good job, so keep it up and continue to make us proud. You all, although we're sitting up here, we still look up to you all because you all are great examples on what students from Pontiac School District, what you all should look like. So thank you, because I would say 6 out of the 7 of us here were once Pontiac School District students. So thank you so much, and keep up the good work.
Thank you. And we would like to take a picture with the students, but so as you come up, Aubrey, Brooklyn, Sarah, Pharrell, and Jameer, thank you guys for being great examples for your classmates. Parents, thank you for what you're doing. And of course, our Owens family over here, thank you guys so much for what you're doing. You've produced some great little rock stars, so thank you. All right, so now we'll have them come up and we'll grab a quick picture. And we'll take a quick recess. Give me about 3 minutes. We don't need 5.
Oh, yeah, that's terrible. Terrible. That's
All right, are we ready to, everybody ready?
and I can trust me. I feel it.
All right, thank you, Frank. Moving down the agenda, recognition of our elected officials. Good evening, trustees.
Good evening.
Good to see you here, and we see trustee-elect Ms. Jennifer Dooley, good evening. Anybody else in the audience? No, I think we're good. All right. Moving on down, can I get a motion for the approval of the consent agenda?
So move.
It's been moved by trustee Gross, supported by VP Bowman for the acceptance of the consent agenda. Any questions? Roll call, please.
I'm voting yes. Trustee Garrett,
Abstain.
trustee Gross,
Yes.
President Hannah,
Yes.
trustee Terry,
Yes.
VP Bowman,
Yes.
trustee Kraft.
I abstain.
That passes 5-2.
All right, thank you. Information from the superintendent and administration. Dr. Leverett, meeting is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Hannah, trustees. At this time, I will turn it over for a report from Dr. Devison, Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction, and Jennifer Dean, Data and Assessment Coordinator. This is a presentation for the 2024 School Index Report. Dr. Devison?
Good evening to everyone. I'm going to turn it right over to Jennifer, who is the expert as it relates to data and assessment. So welcome Jennifer Dean, who is our data and assessment coordinator.
Good evening, everybody. So tonight we are going to look over the school index reports, and we have some benchmark data from our beginning of the year assessments as well. So starting with the Michigan School Index System updates. So the Michigan School Index System is a rating system in response to the Every Student Succeeds Act, which is a federal requirement from the U.S. Department of Education to identify schools that are in need of support and give them that support to make sure that we're providing equitable opportunities for all students. Here we go. So each school is given a school index value between 0 and 100, and then the schools are ranked in order of score to determine the schools that are eligible for identifications. Index scores are also calculated for each of our demographic groups. So any demographic group that has a sample size of 30 or more, we also calculate, well, I don't, the state does. They calculate what the actual overall index score is for those demographic groups as well. Kind of like when we're in our meetings, we're looking at demographic groups, just making sure that if there's a group that's underperforming, we're making sure that we're giving them all the support that they need to be successful. And the school index report does that as well. The index scores are actually a target of, or a percent of a target met. So you're going to see some proficiency index scores, and the proficiency target might be 80%. So if a school scores 50% of their students proficient, the target was 80%, they've met about 62% of their actual index score target. So it gets confusing when we start looking at things like, is that our number of students that are proficient, or nope, that's the percent of the progress that we've made towards the goal. So stop me anytime, ask me questions. It's a lot to take in. I know it took me a very long time, and every year when these reports come out, I have to go through a refresher course myself to remember all of this. So please feel free to stop me, ask questions. Did we move? Okay, we moved. Okay, so the three categories for support are the comprehensive support, or CSI, schools, ATS, which is additional targeted support, and TSI. So with CSI, we're looking at schools that fall in the bottom 5%. So I said all the schools in Michigan are ranked, and then the schools that fall in that bottom 5% automatically get comprehensive support and improvement as their identification. Any school also that, another area is the ATS. So if you're an ATS school, you have one demographic group that's in the lowest 25% in all of the components, and one that's in the lowest 5% overall. And then with TSI, you have one or more groups that are in that lowest 25% in all components. So in the fall of 2022, they did a whole new round of identifications for TSI and CSI. We know that Harrington Elementary and Pontiac High School both fell into that CSI category. Pontiac High School being for the graduation rate, and Harrington Elementary for that lowest 5% of performing 5% of schools. With the new round of identifications in fall of 2024, the only thing that was added was new targeted support and improvement entries, and we're happy to report that we had no new schools identified in that 2024. I know.
That's a great thing.
So
Good news.
it's very good news. I know we were a little bit discouraged when we looked at that fall state reporting data and just the actual proficiency rates. But when the school index reports are calculated, so many things come into account, like full academic year students. If the student hasn't been with you for a full academic year, they're not counting against you. So that when we remove some of those things and look at our students that have been with us for a full academic year or more, we see we're doing much better. Okay, and then if you were to go into the My School Data website, which is where you see all of this information on the schools that don't have an identification all receive in the identification box what's called universal supports. So supports that all schools receive regardless of how they're performing. So an example of that would be the IDEA special ed funding, that all schools receive that based on their special education populations, not based on how they're performing. So that would be an example of universal supports that all schools receive. Okay, so remember I said when we look at the index values, what we're seeing is the percent of a target met. So in 2021-22, baseline values were calculated. They actually were done like back in 2016 or 17, or maybe 15, but had to be redone after coming back from COVID. So 21-22 was the first year of everybody back into full state testing. So we go back to that for a baseline value. So if we look at that top one, we see proficiency in ELA. The baseline value was 41.8%. So that was our average proficiency across the state of Michigan. The long-term goal then is for all schools to be at 56.31%. And that number comes from the 21-22 data, looking at the schools that performed at the 75th percentile, averaging all of those numbers, all of those school averages out, and we get that 56.31 as the goal for the 2031-32 school year. And then you can see the different areas going down. When we get to looking more at the individual schools, we're going to see school quality indicator. So the school quality indicator is actually, or student success and school quality indicator. That's actually going to be the K-12 on-track attendance. So that's your percent of students that are not chronically absent. The 11th and 12th advanced coursework, so students that are in AP classes. Post-secondary enrollment, so your percent of students that are enrolling in post-secondary programs after graduation. And K-8 access to arts and physical education, as well as K-8 access to a library and media specialist. Okay, I think I got that all. Okay, so now we're looking at by school, each one of their overall index scores. Oh, let me go back. Okay. So when we're looking at each one of these areas, there's growth, proficiency, school quality, graduation rate, EL progress. You'll see I have a number down here in parentheses. So each one of these components is weighted differently. So student growth counts for a lot more of this overall index score than, say, our participation rates, or even the school quality, which is 15.56%. These elementary schools don't have a graduation rate. The high school does have a graduation rate. That counts as 10% of their index score. But that 10% up here, where the other schools don't have graduation rate, gets weighted out to the other areas. So you'll see a few differences there. But you'll see the student growth is the highest, then proficiency, then school quality. And all of those come together to calculate the overall school level index value. So the baseline for schools in the lowest 5% threshold in the 2024 school year was 23.88, and you'll see none of our schools are close to that. Okay, So that's it on index scores. Any questions on that before I go on? Because I know it's clear as mud.
No, I don't have any. I'm trying to understand this.
Me
I don't
too.
have any questions.
I know, that's why I said it's a lot. Feel free to ask questions if I can provide clarity in any way.
You ain't no.
Okay, then I am going to move into our benchmark reporting. Maybe. There we go. Okay, so our fall baseline benchmark data. I'm gonna set this back up here. So we're going to be looking at both the iReady assessment and the NWA assessment. iReady applies to our students in kindergarten through 8th grade. That test is a criterion reference test. That means we're looking at, I'm a second grader, this is what a second grader should know. If I am on grade level, then I'm going to get a score of being on grade level. If I'm below grade level, I'll get a score telling me I'm below grade level. So in the fall, a second grader would be tested on material that they haven't actually been exposed to yet. So when we start looking at the data and we're seeing a lot of students falling into that tier 2, which is 1 grade level below, that's technically where we would expect them to be at the beginning of second grade, not having been exposed to second grade material. So right now, those tier 2 students are in a really good place. When we switch to look at high school data, we'll be looking at NWA, which is norm referenced. Norm referenced means it's compared against all the other students that take this assessment. So not a set of standards telling me what the grade level is, but how I'm doing in comparison to all the other students that have taken this assessment. So basically falling at the 50th percentile means I'm considered on grade level norm. So you'll see some differences when we switch from the K-8 data to the 9-12 data, and that's part of that. So looking at our district math proficiency, overall we have 4% of students on tier 1, 37% in tier 2, and 59% in tier 3. And then you can see the breakdown there by grade level. Also, we're looking at our proficiency by our demographic groups. Remember, those demographic groups can also affect our identifications in the state reporting and the federal reporting. We're always making sure that we're keeping a pulse on that in between those big assessments. So looking at our demographic groups, and I also listed the name of the demographic group as well as the number of students in that group. So if you see an outlier, but you see there's a lot less students in that group, that kind of helps us see where that higher number might be coming from. Okay, then we'll go, yes.
Just to be, I want to be clear, for the information you're currently showing is showing for the fall 2024, is this like the entry level? Or is
The
this?
beginning of the year.
Beginning of the year, yes. This is their
Okay.
fall, so the assessment that they took, starting in like the 3rd week of September and went all the way almost through the end of October.
So we'll, later, next year, we'll see the
So, well,
comparison?
in January, they come back and they take a mid-year assessment, so about March, you'll be hearing information on that, and then again, at the end of the year, they take an assessment, and I come back to you in the summer, usually before that last board meeting, before the summer closes out, with
Thank
those updates.
Gross.
And is this based on information that they hadn't learned yet, or does this incorporate information that they've learned from the year past? Or both?
So for when we're looking at the elementary, so like when we're looking at K-8 schools, they were tested on information that they haven't learned yet.
Okay.
That's the criterion referenced. So, but the test is also adaptive, so as they're not scoring correctly on the questions that are at grade level, it adapts down to tell us, okay, this student is 1 year below grade level, or they're 2 or more grade levels below where they need to be right now.
Now, based on the results that we have from that testing, do we go back from this point forward, or have we been, since the test was taken, to get them efficient, go over the information that they've already just took the test on, so they become proficient in it, and then retest it in January? We should see a higher number in proficiency if it's based on the information that was given by the test that they were given.
Correct.
Am I on the right path?
You're on the right path. So the all of our curriculum resources teach the students the on-grade level material that they need to know. Now, when we have students that are in those red areas that are 2 or more grade levels below, those students need to back up and pick up some missing skills. And that's where the teacher does teacher-directed interventions with the students in small groups, as well as the students have the online learning path that's part of iReady that connects directly back to their test to say, okay, we're learning in geometry about 3-sided shapes, and this student has not mastered that yet, so let's go back and do some refresher courses on that. Or we're going into 2-digit addition with regrouping, and this student still hasn't mastered 1-digit addition, so we're going to go back through and help the student master that, so they'll be ready for the next step.
So my question would be, and that's where I have a concern. Sorry, Frank. How could a student be 2 grades behind if you are working with them to become proficient in the information that was given to them at that time? Say a freshman had algebra, and they were given a test in the fall, and they shown that they were not proficient in algebra in the freshman year. You train them or get them prepared and get them ready and get them through the process of learning what they weren't proficient in. And then they come back in sophomore year and they now have geometry, and it shows that they're still a grade behind in algebra. How could a child get 2 grades behind in some subject if we're knowing ahead of time through the testing in the fall what that they're given the test on? Follow me? Am I making it clear? And then you find out that they weren't proficient in the fall test, but you test them again in the winter test. They may not be where they should be, but you're still working with them to become proficient. Now you take a spring test, and they're still not proficient. Then you come back their sophomore year, you test them again. Now they're still behind in 9th grade year because they have not been proficient in the subjects that they should have been assisted with in learning during their freshman year. So how do you get a kid that are 2 or 3 grades behind? That's all I'm asking. I'm concerned about that.
So to close a gap of a student that's 2 or 3 grade levels behind usually does take more than 1 year.
I need to hear why.
That's one of the pieces that usually takes more than 1 year. So going back to the index score reporting where I was showing the growth piece for students, when the state puts a growth calculation on a student, they calculate how much growth the student needs to make to close their gap in 3 years. Because many times those gaps where they're 2 or more grade levels behind, they're not going to catch up in 1 year.
That's
they're going to
correct.
catch up over multiple years.
That's correct. So why are we moving forward with a child who is not proficient in 1 year and they don't become proficient at the end of the school year, but then the following year we test them again, which has put them behind? Why aren't we learning to catch them caught up? You get where I'm going? So are we ignoring the fact that they're not proficient that year, and then we go back into another subject to test them again in the next fall year, and then they become non-proficient in the sophomore year too? I'm just using freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year. They weren't proficient in the 9th grade. They didn't get it the full year. But you come back and retest them again their sophomore year on subjects they should know in the sophomore year. So now they're still not proficient in the 9th grade information. You test them in the sophomore year, they don't know anything. The freshman year is just sitting there, non-proficient. And then you test them their sophomore year, we find out they're not proficient their sophomore year in the certain subject they were tested on. We get them through that year to teach them sophomore year stuff, negating what they didn't know in freshman year. So now let's get to junior year. So they weren't proficient freshman, sophomore year. Now we're teaching them junior stuff. And I'm not blaming someone, I'm blaming the curriculum. Because you say it takes more than just a year to become proficient. But some students are more proficient. For What are we doing with the ones? Why are we waiting to get, because I'm looking at a pink line, that means they're in, if I'm, not- the top dot line, let's look at,
Kindergarten.
That's kindergarten.
that's the first test.
So that,
Yeah, and
They've
they've
been
never,
exposed to it.
they've never been in school,
So
and there's
that's-
nothing lower
What's the
than
number on the end? I can't see it. That pink, that last number on the, over there, at the top.
93.
So 93% of our kindergartens aren't proficient on this test. Hear what I'm saying? When I come back in January or the spring, because they're telling me that they're being taught these things they're not proficient in to make them more proficient, right? If I come back in January, April, or June, and I'm still seeing 80% of that group that was tested, 90-something%, aren't proficient, then what do we do? Because the reason I'm saying this, we're seeing the same type of numbers every year as it pertains to proficient in the amount of kids in tier 2 and 3. The goal, Dr. Leverett, am I right? The goal is to get every child in this district to tier 1,
That is correct.
right?
That is the goal, yes.
But we're seeing similar numbers, like we saw, I've been on this thing for 4 years now, in this new tier thing. And we're seeing the same things. If any improvement we see, it's small percentages.
it is.
So again, I go back to my initial statements. Why are we having kids 2 and 3 grade levels behind? And I understand it takes more time to get them to a certain level. But what are we doing? That means we'll never catch up. We'll never catch up. Because now you're teaching them new things in sophomore year than you did in freshman year. You're teaching them newer things in junior year than you did in sophomore and freshman year. Now you're teaching them new things they should know in senior year than they did in junior, sophomore, and freshman year. So that means they're still behind. What are we doing? That's what I'm saying, and that's my concern. Because we keep going through these numbers, I really don't want to see this, but I know we have to. But it's the same thing. We talk about this, y'all. We talk about this as a board. We do. And
Yeah. Trustee Garrett.
So I guess are we going through this because it's mandatory that we report out at a board meeting?
yes.
So is this why we're doing this today? Okay.
Well, and to inform
Well, I know, but
everybody that is interested
there
to
is a
tune in.
mandatory reporting that's required because of our situation or
Well,
legally
it's part of the
and-
benchmark
and-
legislation, so
Right, exactly.
we get money
So-
back on these
Right.
benchmark assessments that we pay for, but part of that
That is
requirement to
reporting
get the
out,
money
yes.
is that we're reporting out
Right.
whatever
So-
it is.
if it's identified as that we're just reporting out because it's the time to report out. Typically what we've done in the past is just had breakdowns and study sessions amongst the board, open up to the meetings, and this is the only thing that you focus on. It's very difficult to do this in a very 2-hour window. If it's just to share the information, then it's just to share the information and kind of make that known. Because there's people who are sitting in the audience, there's people at home that's not going to be able to follow through with this because they don't know.
Yeah,
right?
and usually
And
when
so-
we have these presentations where I do this part, then the next step is the departments come in with what's working,
We're
what's
normally
not,
at a
what we're
board
doing
retreat.
next.
We're normally at a board retreat, and we normally are breaking this down. It's not at a regular board meeting, whatever the mandatory reporting, the mandatory reporting out is it. Only thing I'm saying is just, if it's just, we have it reported out, but however, we've been through this over and over, so I guess what I would like to hear, and whether I'm sitting here or not, is what is going to be what is the solution this year? Like, what are the things that we are doing? What are the practical things that that's happening in the schools that we know that's doing to help move the numbers? And then if it's kindergarten, which is what Frost or our elementaries, then what kind of interventions or systems are we going to put in place with other agencies? Because this is a more of a community problem at this. If you come into school and you're not proficient at what we think that you need to be proficient at. First, we need to tell people what they need to be proficient at. And then we have to, we're going to give them a benchmark to go by. And then when they bring the kid to school, then it's only fair to then teach them, bring them up to progression, but then also go back to the parent or go back to wherever that student is coming from to kind of help follow through the summer. So that one recommendation is for summer schools, right? Like we had this conversation. So it's continuing progression of, hey, you get out in June, but however, we still need you in school from the day you get out of school, regular school, all the way to summer school. What does that look like? What is the cost? Is that a union thing? Is that something that we have to do as far as rethinking outside of, a magnet school or bringing other folks in, and how that's the conversation. And we've had this conversation before. So I just don't want to just have it put out as if we didn't. So this is mandatory reporting. We have to report out so we can get some funds back, because that's the position that we're in right now. But this is not the end all, be all of the conversation, because this is not something that we could just do in 2 hours. Thank you, Madam President.
Yes.
And I just want to quick, and first of all, I want to apologize. I don't want to sound like I'm attacking. I'm not. I don't want it to sound that way. No, I do, because it can be some grocers out there just killing the teachers and the principals. Yes, and I'm fine. But here's where I'm going. I need to know, as a board trustee, I'm aware of what we have here in these numbers. I need to be made sure that we have some processes in place to start assisting, if not already, those who are considered 1 to 2 years behind. What is in place to get them caught up to where they need to be, along with being proficient in the grade that they're in now? Get where I'm going, Dr. Leverett? What do we have in place? Because I know, listen, in these times and days and ages, it's different, or even somewhat more difficult, to be in a classroom teaching, especially when your classroom is overcapacitated. It's hard, and there's only one person in there. Sometimes they may have somebody to help them, sometimes, most of the time, not. I'm well aware of that as a board trustee. The goal is not to just teach one, but to ensure you teach all. And it's difficult in some of these classrooms now. We know across the world, not just the United States and this country or Michigan or Pontiac. Across the world, there's a shortage of teachers. I'm truly aware of that. But we have to be able to adapt and adjust to what we don't have to ensure to provide what we need to have. So I just need to be made aware of, as a board trustee, what do we have in place to assist those who are in tier 2 and 3, to assist them to become proficient before they leave here to get to tier 1. I'm aware that this board, things are brought to us by administration, programs. I think we got one now we're looking at approving to assist us in these areas. If it's not working, get rid of and try something different, because it's not working, because we're seeing similar numbers, not the same. We've seen some improvements in areas, I will say that. But it's not enough. It's not enough. If you have 90% of kindergartners coming in the beginning of the school year, right? That's not proficient. You only have 7%. What is it that the 7% is doing to become proficient that the 95 is not, 93 is not? So next year when we have this test, we're learning, because of the previous year, on why the 7% is doing well. Why can't we provide that information to the other parents when their kids come in for next year and we're testing? So maybe that 90% moves to 50% of the kids are proficient when they come. Get what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm just being idealistic and see what we can do to change these numbers and move the needles. Mm-hmm. Because in the past, these numbers have not changed a lot when we look at it in the spring.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's been a board concern since I've been on the board the last 4 years. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So Trustee Grossi is right. That is something that we've been asking since we've been on, since I've been on board as well. And we were told that, that we can't force parents to send their kids to summer school. The other thing is, you want to know about the kindergarten and why they're not as proficient. Of course, they haven't been in school, but they don't have the support always to do it. That's why I plead after every meeting that we need parent participation to make sure what the teachers are teaching at home that they're actually doing in their little packets that they're supposed to bring back, once a week or whatever, but that they're doing homework at home to reinforce what the teachers are doing. We actually need to plead with our community to help at home as well as inside the school, because of course we are short-staffed. So we need that extra support from them, and I believe that's the issue, that we're not able to force them to go to summer school. That all students don't have that support from their siblings and parents and things like that because of the things that parents are at work and things of that nature. So we need more tutoring and things like that from the city and other places. The city has tutoring as well. Like, we should have got with them and had a tutoring program that came over here to help us. That will help us with funding and everything, where we're not coming out of pocket as much. Reaching out to the colleges, which I believe we do that, to ask them to help with tutoring as well. So I think that's maybe the only thing that we got to come together as a community. And that's where those numbers come from, I believe.
Thank you. And although we don't like what we see, I'm glad that people are troubled by it, because this is why we're here, because we have to educate our students. I do want to just make a point too, that oftentimes when students start off behind, it's hard for them to catch up, so they tend to stay behind. If they're starting off behind the wheel, it's very difficult for them to even catch up. So what we're seeing, even when we reference kindergarten, right now we know kindergarten is not even mandatory in the state of Michigan. So some parents don't even have to send their kids to kindergarten. So if we're looking at data that shows us the proficiency of our kids that are in kindergarten, then just imagine those kids that don't come to kindergarten. So this is another reason, I think, why Governor Whitmer is even pushing and encouraging preschool. Right. Because if parents would get their kids in preschool, that could give them some sense of social, emotional, and academic learning that could help them even when they get to kindergarten, so that they can be proficient. So again, I just wanted to state that we've already belabored this. This is where we are. These are our students, and we know that there's work that we have to do, and these are the kids that we're here to service and make sure that they're educated. But just please keep that in mind, that the kids, when they come to us, if they're coming to us behind, then it is challenging for them to catch up, and then we then see them behind when it comes to the next grade level, and then even the next grade level. So we just have to do our due diligence to make sure that we're providing our families with the resources that they need so that they can offer their support, as Secretary Davis Smith said, outside of school, and not just wait or expect the kids to only learn when they're inside of the school. So Jennifer Dean, if you can continue, and we'll keep moving on.
Okay. So an important point to that is the students are coming to school every day. The research on, just one missed day of school and how far that puts the student behind, just missing one math lesson. Yep. And now I have to catch up on that one that I missed and learn the new one for today. So all of those things coming into play to helping our families understand that as well.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, so move through the math proficiency levels here. Harrington. There we go. ILA, and we kind of see the same pattern throughout most of the schools. A small percentage of students that are at grade level, those students that are in that yellow band are one grade level behind, which is technically where they should be at the beginning of the school year if they're test on grade level content. I'm sorry, the clicker, there we go. Okay, and then we were looking at ITA. Owen. Rogers, And Whitman. Again, seeing those same trends throughout. We have, I think, Pontiac Middle School should be next. Yep, Pontiac Middle School with the math proficiency of grade level. And here we see, reiterating what you said, as they get older, they come in behind and they just continue to get farther behind, and that's what we're seeing. So finding that place to capture them before they get to this is where we need to focus, and we know that. Moving into reading. So looking at the overall district by grade level. Overall in the district, 8% of the students are already at grade level for the grade level they're in. 31% of students are at tier 2 or that one grade level below. And 61% are 2 or more grade levels below. And you can see the pattern for the students throughout the grades. And then looking again by demographic. I am trying to click. There we go. And then looking at schools and their grade levels for the reading proficiency. Harrington, ILA.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Now, when we test these students, so I won't count kindergarten because they're just new people coming in, but is there a way to break down students that have been in the district? So if we wanted to post, if I wanted to see third grade, that mean they were possibly Pontiac from kindergarten, first grade, second grade. So if we wanted to take third grade.
And only look at the students who had consistently been with us.
Yes.
Yes.
So versus new
looking at
students
everybody.
coming in, because this isn't giving us a clear understanding, because they're always new students, new grades. We didn't track where they came from, what they've learned or anything. So
we do have that, where we look at not only full academic year students, so at the end of the year, I'll do analysis of students that are full academic year versus an analysis of all students that were tested. And I also can go back and track by cohort, okay, this cohort of third graders has been with us since kindergarten, and mark them out that way and delineate their data that way.
I would like to see that, for, it's no rush, but for my own personal, I just want to know, because if we have a system in place and we've been tracking it, because we've had iReady for 6 years now?
To the spring of 2019, we piloted it, and then the 2020-21 school year.
Going on 5 years.
Okay, so because if iReady is supposed to track where the student is and put in those supports and things like that, something clearly isn't working. But I need to see the numbers of the Pontiac students who's been with us, so that we can see, because if we're not looking at what we're doing, just us, we can't take on what they got from somewhere else. We need to see the clear picture of what we're doing so that we can correct this, because, yeah.
Yeah, and in some cases, when we pull out those students who have been in a cohort, we see sometimes up to a 10% increase. So, but just for clarity, are we asking for that just to be provided to you or presented out here?
However, I would like the information, but when you speak to Dr. Leverett, if she feels that the community needs to hear that, that would be great too.
Okay.
But for me personally, I would like to see it. So this is an ask that I want to see it, because this is not.
Trustee Gill.
Just to VP's point, we've had these conversations in board governance. You have 3 of them, 3 not board governance, but board retreats. So in those thick binders, you still have that information.
Just with Pontiac?
Just with Pontiac, and it was spelled out, separated with what they're reporting out. This is just mandatory reporting, so they have to report it out this way. Typically, in the board retreats, you get it down, it goes a little deeper than this, and we've had it for the last 2 years. However, to your point, if it's not talked about in this specific year of how our kids are coming through and what we've taught them and how proficient that they are, just the ones that were very consistent in Pontiac, that's that would be my recommendation. You look at those before you start moving to what schools or what particular programs or curriculum you want to move from or move to. iReady is working, but it only puts out a snapshot of to where that student is right there to give modules for that kid to improve. However, as it keeps repeating itself as the kid progressions, but the information doesn't follow the kid, if that makes sense. And so, granted, this is something that needs to be talked about at, I think, to this point, at a board governance level, because as the decisions that you're making to the proficiency piece to what needs to happen, immediately, you would begin to know that these are our students, and I would do from K through 8, who's been in there from K through 8, even before they get to high school, and that would give you basically what you would need as a board to help to make decisions on what programs to keep and what programs not to keep, and then who to solicit for help and who not to solicit for help, in my opinion. Thank you.
So yeah, and there would be a lot of different factors to look at it with that as well, not just like looking at their iReady online instructional usage, but we can also tell, were they engaged? Are they passing their lessons? Or are they getting on and doing their 45 minutes a week, but they're not engaged in the lessons and they're not passing the little mini quizzes to move on to the next level? So while they're showing that the time is put in, are the teachers in the classroom and the parents at home, when the students are working on that, making sure that the student is engaged and not just clicking. And it's a fine balance there. We say don't do any more than the 45 minutes a week, because then that's where we get into the students becoming disengaged and not being interested. So a lot of things that we would need to look into: the cohort students, the students' use on the iReady online instruction.
And
I have a question. How many students do we have in the district? About 4,200? What would we do if we had 5,000 or 10? If the goal is to bring kids back. If the goal is to bring 10 kids, remember now, from the 60s through the 70s and part of the 80s, Pontiac had 25,000 students. In the 90s through the early 2000s, from 1999 through 2007, we went from 14,999 kids down to 10,000 because of charters. Through the early 2000s, we went from 10,000 students to almost 3,000, where we were almost, the school district was going to disintegrate like they did in Buena Vista and Easter. But then we began to get more kids back, and they changed the numbers of $3,500 at this $3,500 at the state level, and now we're at 42. We're looking at higher proficiencies, non-proficiencies than proficiency. And if our goal is to get students back, how are we going to be able to handle another 800 kids coming in to get us at 5,000 compared to another 4,800 kids to get us over 10? If our goal is to get kids back. Because that was the discussion. Because getting out of formula means you have to have a certain amount of kids in order to keep the district going because of the amounts. But if that's what we're looking at, where's our plans? What are we doing? This is only with 4,200 kids. With the district that has a capacity of over 15,000. Am I the only one concerned about that?
No, I don't think you're the only one concerned about it. Our concern is, how do we make sure that the kids that we have are educated, that we increase and improve their academic achievement? Of course, we want to grow our district and have more kids come back, but I think at this point, our priority, as Dr. Leverett has mentioned, is making sure that the students that we are accountable for right now, that 4,200, that we're doing what we need to do to educate them and make sure that they are proficient.
And I totally agree with that. But if your goal is to bring more students, you have to show proficiency in the ones you already have for a parent to trust the fact that they're going to bring the kids back to this district. That's all I'm saying. It all goes together, just like this. And I'm not bad-mouthing, and but here's the thing. If Plan A is not working, where's B, C, D, and E?
Yes, and I think, again, this is a report out of information for us to hear, and I think each class, each school has shared with us what their plans are in terms of academic, yes, and I think that's why Owen is here today to talk about what they're doing with their academics, just as we heard from Whitman just a few weeks ago. So this is to let us know where we at, which is what we should know, where we are. This is the beginning of the school year. But again, just as we've having each of our principals and their staff come to us and report and tell us what they're doing, that's going to impact these numbers. Jennifer Dean doesn't have that information,
No, I'm
but
not- I'm
but
just throwing it out
they're
there.
going to, yes. But that is exactly why we ask our principals and the staff to come and share with us, what are they doing? So,
But is this, I guess my question though is this is it should be a continuance of a conversation that's already been had. And so nothing that should be just, oh, this is what we're doing this year. So I guess that's, and so that, because we haven't heard that, and because we haven't heard the continuance of the conversation, then if this is just a report out, which we know what this is, and we know what the numbers are, then if we have shortage of teachers, what is the practical thing that we're doing this year? Because we've been doing that for 3 years. So what are we doing? And it's not pointing fingers. It's not our job. We're professionals. We get paid to be professionals, to educate kids who come before us. That's not nothing to be ashamed about, and that's not nothing to hide from a conversation about. And because kindergartens are not coming the way that they need to in our particular community, because we need a midnight daycare. Let me just break it down for a little bit more, because conversations we've had. We need a midnight daycare because our parents have to work, and some coming from single parent homes and being stressed out, and we have a very transient community. So it's not just the academic piece. They're not coming because they don't want to learn. They're coming because they're facing some difficulties. Okay, so what is the board doing, or what is the administration recommendation, the continuance of the conversation of saying, because we talked about it, we were supposed to roll out this year, are we going to do the midnight program? Are we going to do daycare for parents who can't get their kids in school, so their kids get here on time because of attendance? Because there was the higher percentage of our K through 5 kids who are not getting to school on time because of that fact. We know that. We've had that conversation. The practical, the work of it is, where can we put this daycare? How much does it cost? What kids or what parents can take advantage of it to help move the needle? It's not just about when they come to us no more. We know about that. It's about what you practically can do. Partnerships. It's not partnerships with just any nonprofits. It's partnerships when you're saying the state of Michigan, CPS, we have MHSS in our schools. They know our kids who are homeless. They know who our kids who are transient. We have all of that information. I think Dr. Weatherspoon had mentioned this. Are we willing to open up the conversation of having homes built in parts of our schools, or co-ops built in parts of our schools? Like, those are the conversations. Like this right here, like I said, we know about it. It's mandatory reporting. But if you just put it out information in the community where it's just like we're not doing anything, or we haven't said anything about it, and we're just starting from new, it's like you're continuously having the same conversation over and over. And that's not something that this board has done, and that's not something that I would hope that we wouldn't continue to do. Like, you're at the action steps now. And so
Right.
that's all I'm saying.
Dr. Hannah, I have one last thing I want to say. And Doc, I need you to hear me on this. I would feel more comfortable if it was just brought to this board. Trustee Gross, we need this, and this to get us on track to get these kids proficient. Because we're having, listen, I'm not there day to day. I don't see what's going on in the classroom day to day, right? But there's people in this crowd that works under you that's there every day with these kids. So I don't know if I don't want to say afraid, or, to say to the board, I'm having trouble. Listen, there were some things brought out at the board retreat as it pertains to what we needed in English, in math, and something else, and we hired some, we made it a position, remember? To assist Ms. Jackson and Ms. Dean, you know, because that was stated. Remember I asked, where are you as it pertains to how you're feeling? Are you at a 0 or you at a 10? Remember that conversation? And everybody, oh, I'm at a 10, man, I'm ready to explode. Then we started moving. I need to hear in sessions like this, well, Trustee Gross, if you guys can bring somebody in to do this, or somebody to help us to do this, because I don't know what this is. But that's what we need to hear from these people that are working with our children every day. From the teachers, to the principals, to the counselors, to administration. This is what's missing, because I haven't heard that yet. I've heard some ideas that can help us in certain areas, but okay, what can we do to move our kids' proficiency level forward if we did this, this, and this, and this? If it's money and you're afraid to ask because it's money, let's figure out what we can change to eliminate to get the money, or even in grants. But what is it that we can do? Because people are asking me, why are you guys still going through this? Why are we doing this? Why aren't kids this and this and this? And I can say, I'm not there day to day. I don't know. And again, I don't want to sound like I'm pointing fingers, but what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same things over and over again and expecting different results? That's all I'm asking. Just if you can get your team and you can get with Ms. Dean and Dr. Devinson and Ms. Jackson and all of them, and just come up with 6 things that we need that can get us on track. Try us out. Let us know. I'm just one board member asking, because listen, I don't like it when I go out in other communities and I hear, man, Pontiac, y'all still got problems going on, because none of them look at these meetings. They don't know what we're doing, right? But the history and assumptions are we're doing nothing. I'm tired of that. So what can you bring to us to make a difference? That's all I'm asking. You have cabinet meetings every week. Throw it out. Folks, what can we do? The board needs to know, what can we do to get this thing on track? What do we need? Throw it out now. We may get it, we may not. But you definitely not getting it if you don't ask. Seek and you shall find. Knock, the door shall be open. Ask, you shall receive. And then that ain't my words. All right, let me go.
Thank you. Sneak, please finish up, because we got our staff. Yeah,
Yes.
we need to continue with the agenda.
So finishing up with NWA. So when we look at NWA, we're switching to a norm reference test. So that is how our students did in relation to other students that have taken the same assessment, same time of year, same age, et cetera. So we do see some higher tier 1 students, higher level of tier 1 students when we're looking at that based on the norm reference. So I will, okay, and we're looking at the math by demographic and also reading by grade level and the reading by demographic.
Can you go back
Thank
to
you.
this? I couldn't see.
That's one of the charts you want to see?
Which one?
Yes, it's just at the angle I couldn't see.
Oh.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Continuing on, at this time, I will turn it over to Dr. Devison. We will have curriculum and update presentations from Owen Elementary and Alcott Elementary.
Good evening. So one of the things, to your point, Trustee Gross, is that we're looking at data and we're trying to see how we improve the data. We are going to be meeting with the MDE on this Friday as it relates to benchmark. And in all honesty, we have met 50% of those goals and have not met 50% of those goals, which is an improvement. As we're talking about when Dr. Leverett and I first took the role of interim superintendent and assistant superintendent, the one charge that we said was we wanted to have each school present at these meetings so that you could know where they are from one point to the next. So yes, you're right in that we are not seeing the scores that we desire, but we're showing you progress as we go. Hence why we have Dr. Kavanaugh here from Owen and Ms. Johnson here from Alcott. And when you looked at the index scores, there are some improvements.
Yes.
There are not improvements that we desire, but there are improvements. And there are some positive conversations going on in the county and also at the state level. So I don't want you to think that we don't have improvement, because we do.
Yes, and I know we do.
Okay, so, and as it relates to proficiency, every year, at least from one year to the next, we are seeing growth. We are seeing growth.
Thank you.
So I want to introduce Dr. Kavanaugh from Owen Elementary, who will show you her data from the beginning of the year to this point.
Good evening, trustees. I will start with the enrollment data up until when I presented my PowerPoint to submit for you for this evening. So as of last week, we had 395 students total at Owen Elementary. That has increased. We are averaging about 2 to 3 new students per week at Owen Elementary. We currently have about 82 kindergarten students. That means 28 students per classroom in kindergarten with one teacher. So 2 classrooms, 1 teacher, 28 students in each, and 1 assistant that's shared between the 2 teachers. So when you ask me what we need a lower adult to student ratio in K through 2 to make a big difference. And those teacher assistants and those building helpers, that is a big thing that can go towards helping us with that student-teacher ratio. Our first grade, we are at 26 students to 1. In our second grade, we are at 30 students to 1 teacher with no assistants. Our third grade, we are looking at 30 students to 1 teacher with no assistants. And so when you're talking about small group instruction, when you're talking about one-on-one support for students who are 2 grade levels below, that would be a big ask. So I was glad to hear you ask what we need, because that would be a big thing for us at the elementary level. Just having some additional support, even if it is volunteers, retired people in the community who want to come in and spend some time in the classrooms helping with small group work. We can definitely do training sessions with them. I can come in on Saturdays. My staff is more than happy to come in and stay after school to train people on the curriculum and how to do small group instruction. That would be a big takeaway for us. Any questions regarding the enrollment? This does include our special ed numbers. We have 6 special ed classrooms in our building that are self-contained, so these numbers do also include our special ed classrooms.
What is your largest special ed class, if I can ask?
Our largest special ed class right now has, I want to say 9. That's our self-contained resource room special ed, and those students do also go out part of the day into the gen ed classrooms for some mainstreaming.
Thank you.
Okay, our attendance, I'm very proud to say, has been increasing throughout the school year. We've been doing a lot of incentives at the school. We have increased our positive PBIS this year for the school, and we've added multiple incentives. One of the things we do now is Phoenix Fun Days, which you'll see some pictures of later on. And Phoenix Fun Days is for students meeting their goals. So if they have 2 or less absences for the month, if they've done their 3 per week iReady math and reading lessons, completed those lessons. It's not about minutes. If they have met their behavior goals, then they get to attend the monthly Phoenix Fun Day event. So we've added these incentives for the students to try to get them in school, to try to get them doing their iReady the right way, not just getting on and clicking. And so we have seen an increase on our attendance this year as we've started to do these incentives. With our PBIS funds from the MTSS coordinator's department, we were able to purchase a slushie machine, a cotton candy machine, a popcorn machine. And so we have been able to give incentives to the kids on these Phoenix Fun Days. They earn slushie, or we can have a popcorn day. And so it's really increased their willingness to, 1, come to school, and 2, participate in these activities.
Excellent.
So I was very excited when I saw the 92% that we hit in the mid-November. That was a high for us.
Love it.
So going to answering your question about what are we doing about the iReady data that you saw. When our team, and our team is every teacher in our building, when we get together for professional learning communities, that's every teacher in our building getting together, talking about with the behavior intervention team, with the social worker, with anybody who touches a child, we sit down together and look at data. We reviewed first our reading and writing. We reviewed the iReady, the phonics data, Fontes and Pinnell, as well as our layered tests. And what we saw is the phonics was very low, 2, 3 grade levels below. Third graders still reading at a kindergarten level. Fourth graders, fifth graders still reading at a first grade level. Phonics district-wide is a K-3 initiative, but at Owen Elementary, effective November 7th, it was a K-5 initiative. So we have started setting aside time in our 4th and 5th grade where we also do phonics now because those skills were lacking. And you saw it when you saw the data. They started out better in kindergarten, and as you went down into 5th grade, the scores were lower and lower. And we found the same thing at our building. And so for that reason, we now do phonics instruction for all students, K-5, from 9:30 to 10 every morning. Every classroom is teaching phonics. Every teacher was trained 2 years ago on it, with the exception of my 5th grade math teacher. He has a group of students that he has during that time that are at grade level, and he's working with them on advanced skills in writing, like paragraph writing and that type of stuff. So they receive additional small group center-based instruction for high-frequency words. They do this during their intervention time, which is built into their school day as well. And also, students are practicing, like I said, writing skills using closed paragraphs and writing prompts and those types of things. For our math goals, we reviewed the iReady data, and it showed a need for specific skill-based instruction on basic math facts and functions. And so again, we looked at our small group instruction. How are we doing this? I've been working with Tilda O'Neill, who is our district math coach, and she's coming in to do some training with the staff on small group center-based instruction and how do we improve that, how do we focus it more on the student needs. But again, we looked at specific student data, broke them down by groups, and we grouped the students based on their needs so that they're not just all doing the same thing. When they go to those groups, it's specifically to what their need is. And when I worked with the math coach, we looked at specifically Math Essential 5, which is intentionally selecting and implementing cognitively demanding mathematical tasks. Because sometimes we don't push our kids high enough. We say, well, because this is where they test, we have to start them here. But if we push them out a little higher, they will go a little higher. And so that's what we're working on with them. As well as Essential number 6, engaging the children regularly in 5 to 15-minute number sense routines, just kind of those practice routines. Focusing on developing mental strategies, foreseeing quantity, and working flexibly with numbers. But the main thing that we are kind of going back to, don't listen, Stacy, besides following the curriculum, is during that intervention is some of that old-fashioned drill and kill with the multiplication. We're going to give it a try. Because we feel like if you're at 5th grade and you still are struggling with the multiplication, maybe practicing, memorizing the math and memorizing this, it can't hurt to try. So during our intervention, we're trying some of that as well. We're doing it in a fun way. We're playing games, we're doing around the world, and we're doing these other things so that it's fun for children to try some of those just, skill-based drills that we haven't been doing necessarily because the curriculum doesn't call for it that way. They want, it's a group thinking and that kind of activity, but we're trying to add the old skill-based instruction to it to see if that'll help a little bit. We are adding tutoring, and we're doing it in the morning, which is one of those times where our parents are looking to drop off kids early because we are a late school. We don't start until 9:15. Drop-off time starts at 8:30. And so by doing tutoring in the morning from 7:15 to 8:45, that gives parents the ability to enroll their kids in tutoring, bring them to school earlier if they do have to get off to work. And so we're hoping that we'll have better attendance this year than we have when we've done after-school tutoring because it was going so late in the evening at 6 p.m. So we're hoping to see if doing it in the morning we get better attendance.
Is it a limit on if every student so happened to sign up for tutoring in the morning, like is there a limit or?
We have the ability to have 6 teachers at maximum 15 students per classroom.
Okay.
So we have a good amount. I think we'll have no problem having plenty of room for everyone.
Thank you.
Okay. So for our celebrations, I did talk about our Phoenix Fun Days events. We do that monthly to celebrate students meeting their academic attendance and behavior goals. We go down to the gymnasium. They have 20 minutes of free play time. We have volunteers who come in. You can see we had a craft table for Halloween where they were able to make little Halloween knickknacks. They played on the scooters. They have a great time down there. And then we bring them upstairs where we have the slushy machine, the popcorn machine. We have nachos and cheese. We have a chocolate fountain. And so we pick something each month, and they have a really great time then having their snack after their playtime. It's a big incentive for kids. They're always asking me, Dr. Kavanaugh, look up my iReady minutes. How many attendance days do I have? Have I been in trouble? Have I been in your office? And so they're always, especially towards the end of the month. And then we also have cafeteria competition where we have cleanest and most behaved cafeteria, and right on the windows we have Phoenix patches that we put up so they can see every day which class is winning. The first grade just had their slushy party the last day of November because they had won the best cafeteria. We have character champions once a month, so each teacher picks 4 character champions, which is a student who meets a certain characteristic, and those are celebrated. They get playtime. We have a carnival on our stage, and so they can celebrate during their lunchtime for meeting that. We have multiple things. And then the next slide, we tried to emulate the high school. I bring some of my high school days with me down to the elementary. So we had Spirit Week during homecoming week, and we had a game every day at lunchtime for the students. This one you're looking at on the left and center pictures was our Tuesday Wrap the Teacher in a mummy day. And so the kids actually wrapped up their teachers like mummies. And so every day at lunchtime, we had a game that was also Count Week. So it encouraged the kids to be in school because they were excited about the games. We had a dress-up day each day. Friday was scooter races in the hallways. If you've been to Owen, you know we have that big circle that goes around between Owen and Kennedy. And so the kids were scooter racing around the hallways. Sorry, Marv. And then, of course, we like to celebrate all our heritage, all our cultures, and all our students at Owen Elementary. And so for Hispanic Heritage Month, I was able to bring in a live mariachi band for our students. They were very excited about this. It was a wonderful experience. And also our tutors all dressed up, as well as some of our paraprofessionals. Our students carried signs from the countries they were from. They dressed up. They were so proud to represent. And so I was very excited about this, and we're looking forward to all the different events we're going to be able to have throughout the school year to celebrate our students and their heritage. And that is the end of my presentation.
Good. Very good.
And now, the fabulous Principal Berdina Johnson.
Thank you, Dr. Kavanaugh. Good evening, Madam President, board officers, trustees, Dr. Leverett, central office staff, thank you, and to my Alcott family, Sawabona. Thank you. Okay, so as you can see, Alcott has had quite a bit of transition.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
No, we know. No, you're good. When you say transition, I said, yeah.
Yes, but still we rise. Nonetheless, we have. And so you can see that our enrollment has significantly increased and our diversity as well. We are double classes for every grade except 5th grade. And I took the liberty of giving you some additional information in terms of our ethnic breakdown of students at Alcott, if you can see, where we are now at about 48% Hispanic and Latino population at Alcott Elementary.
I hear you, Doc.
Gracias. We are in a bit of a tight situation because we only have one 5th grade teacher, and that teacher is now at 33 students effective today. Our current enrollment is 294 students. It changes every day, 95, 93, 94. I even played a game with the staff, a staff meeting last week. But what we're seeing is a significant amount of students in each classroom. Our kindergarten classrooms both are at 28. Our 1st grade classroom one is at 31. The other classroom is at 30. Our 2nd grade classroom, both of them are at 26, and one's 26, one's 27. 3rd grade, we have a little room to grow. Thank you, Ms. Malicio. Our 4th grades are as well at 28, 227 students. And then, like I said, the fifth grade's at 34. So we are still moving in our space tight, if you will, you know what I mean, but we are making it happen. Our students are excited to come to school. We celebrate our classrooms every day by giving a shout out to our 100% attendance, and we have a kind of classroom competition to see who can get that 100% attendance every day. And they love to hear that shout out as a part of our PBIS, and also the incentive, to come to school daily. Our attendance has increased by month, as you can see, from September to current until this presentation. One thing that I think that we can attribute to a good amount of positive increase in attendance this time last year, I will be very forthright with you and telling you we were in the high 70s. We're making upwards of 86% attendance at this time this year. And
That's what I'm talking about.
yeah, and it's not 90%. I'm going to talk to Dr. Kavanaugh about a couple of those incentives. But that is a major improvement for us because we have goals as a staff, and we'll get to that in just a moment. So I'll show you how we decided to make those goals. But our children are wanting to come to school because they're loved at Alcott. They're also wanting to come to school because they want to learn, because they see improvement, they see growth, they see praise, and they see that they are successful. So that's important for us. When we talk about the goals, we do a lot of collaborating at Alcott. So this making our goals was not an easy task for us. Some of the staff can tell you, I think we spent well over probably almost 2 hours. And we did this at the end of last school year, taking a look at our data. So we didn't just haphazardly say we're going to make sure our kids improve by a year's growth. What we did is we sat down using the problem-solving protocol in our data, and we identified where our children were, and then we understood that we needed to make a plan, but everyone wasn't going to fit in the plan. So when I get to the next slide, you'll see why our goals are a little differentiated. And that's something that we have to do because we did identify that we have to focus in reading on comprehension, literature, information, text, and vocabulary. Why? Because those are the areas that our children in our building are needing to be able to be more successful. So we made a plan. I've been trying for the last 2 years to be able to do this, and this year we've been successful. So we rotate, or we departmentalize, and we rotate our 4th and 5th grade students. So this year I have one teacher who teaches all math for 4th and 5th grade. And I have one teacher who teaches all ELA for 4th and 5th grade. And I have another teacher who teaches all science and social studies. But we built their schedule at 80 minutes so that teacher that teaches science and social studies, their curriculum is not as dense as the other curriculums. So we're able to use that other time to do interventions, real intervention. Some of those things that are not quite curricular, but built on the standards for the curriculum. So that's when our students are getting opportunities to write sentence stems that they may not see in wit and wisdom, or they're doing some vocabulary that might be outside of wit and wisdom. So this semester we're focusing all on reading, and next semester we'll be focusing on math in that intervention time. So I'm very pleased because they're able to take it very seriously, and I'm already seeing some success in their commitment to do well in that intervention time in class. So I'm very happy we're able to do something a little different this year. But we're able.
Ms. Johnson, quick question. Sure. As far as the teachers and how you set it up with teachers teaching the math and English, how was that? Are the students receiving that, and how are the teachers receiving the way that you set it up that way? How is that going for you?
The reason that it's successful is because I had to match the master teacher with the master subject. If I didn't do that, then they wouldn't be able to receive as well. So all 4th and 5th graders pretty much can't wait to get to Mr. Wilson's class for ELA because they know what they're going to do. They know they're going to be successful. They know. We sit in performance management, and he comes with me to Dr. Leverett and Dr. Devison here and the team, and we're able to say how they're successful. So they receive it well. And it's also for the 4th and 5th graders kind of a prep towards middle school, because now they have 3 teachers as opposed to that 1 teacher. So it's acclimating them to that process.
Love it.
But I charge the teachers with, aside from our school goals, they have classroom goals. So you'll see that picture there because this is going to answer one of your questions in terms of the iReady growth. Monthly at Alcott, the teachers have a goal-setting meeting with the students individually. And when they have the goal-setting meeting, individually, if it is applicable to their class, then they are creating goals on what the lessons that they're accomplishing, what they're going to accomplish, not just in time, but in passing, and what they need to work on. So the students know their own data. But in some cases, it's a goal that's collected for a class. So for example, in kindergarten, it's going to be hard to have a goal-setting conversation with the kindergartners. So the teacher is going to say that the class goal is such. We do that because a student is empowered when they have their own data.
That's correct.
So we need to make sure they do that. And boy, do they do. They run down and tell me exactly, I got a 478 or just something, because they're able to know what they need to do to grow. And we celebrate that. At the beginning of the year, it's a little bit difficult, but we give them a moderate celebration in January so that they can see their growth and what it means to them, and so they can see success. But in the spring, there's a celebration to be had, and I mean a celebration. I'm talking bikes, scooters, electronic devices, and all of the above, because they need to know that the effort they put in is for their value and their growth, but that it's recognized as well. So we make it a really big deal. But in the process of us doing that is the teacher action with the goal meetings. It's the monitoring. The teachers monitor the students' growth. And a lot of times what also happens, Trustee, is, yeah, thank you. Trustee Groves, what also happens is teachers identify areas where students are struggling in the curriculum. And they're able to use that iReady to assign them very specific things that are curriculum related so that they can help foster that growth for them when they're working independently, and then the teacher also can revisit that when they're doing their small group lessons. So they're helping those students to master those skills that they may be missing.
One question, if I may. Just one quick question. And do you have a process or something in place when there's a child who flat out say, I'm not going to adhere to this?
That I'm not going to do what?
Adhere to this. I'm not going to follow your process. I just ain't going to do it. I'm little Johnny and I just don't want to do it. So, you don't have to go. I don't need numbers. I don't want any of that.
Oh, I'm going to answer you.
But you have something in place, because there's always someone or someone's, is that a word, Doc? that just won't adhere to it.
The extremely rare case. And I mean extreme.
That's what I want to hear.
I mean extreme. Rare case is when we exercise the work of our social worker and our behavior interventionists, and they work with those students.
Good point.
And we have not had an opportunity where they have not been unsuccessful.
There you go.
So we have to implore everybody, Ms. Ross and Ms. Taylor, they have to work with students, they have to do assignments.
So you saw the need, adapted to the need, and put a program towards the need.
Yes, we have to. Yes. But again, it's rare.
Thank you, my friend.
You're welcome. So what you see here are, it froze. Okay, thank you. What you see here are our actual building goals, which are our MyKIP goals. So that first goal that I was talking about in terms of having to differentiate, because we know that there's a percentage of our students who are going to make their typical growth, because we're going to get them there. But there are some kids who meet stretch growth. And those kids that are stretch growth doesn't mean they're going to grow a whole nother year. Because if I'm at 5th grade reading level, doesn't mean I'm going to go to 7th grade. So we had to be very, very, very conscious about that and making our goals so that our students still remain successful. We're still pushing them, yes, but they have an attainable goal that's going to show their growth.
Love it.
And then our attendance goal, 88% for first semester, and 86 for first semester, 88 for second semester. We're moving. We're going to get there. I'm determined we are definitely going to get there. Our culture and climate is something that we work really, really hard on at Alcott, because that's what draws children to school. You have to have a rapport. You have to have something to make them feel that they have an ownership in the school and the place. So with that, our teachers conduct their surveys every day. Ms. Ross and Ms. Taylor, our BIS and our social worker, are in the classrooms, having lessons with them, determining, making sure the kids are feeling good about that. And then we have a character trait program. So we have a character trait every month. And so our students, by their actions, are recommended to be on our character board so that they can be rewarded for showing that they are those leaders and doing those character traits that we do. And then lastly, we have a parent goal. And so we, at parent-teacher conference, at our parent meetings, and when I have the opportunities to send out Q communications, we remind the parents of our parent goals because they are a part of our plan. In order for our plan to work, they have to do their part.
Question about your parent goals. How do you track it, and what is your participation rate?
The teachers track it by class. And so the participation rate is going to depend by class because I have some classes that have greater participation than others. And then also too, the other part is some teachers have tweaked their parent goal for some more specifics for their class.
Thank you.
And then at Alcott, you can see some celebrations from this year. We had at the beginning of the year our superhero first day of school where a couple of our students made the news. And this one particular student that's being interviewed right now, he literally took the microphone from the anchor. That was hilarious. But that's his personality. And then we had another student that participated in the State of the City and did the Pledge of Allegiance in Spanish.
Oh, yes.
So super excited to be able to represent Alcott. And then we also celebrated Hispanic Heritage Month, you can see with our lovely decorations. And then our Heritage Parade. So all the students in the school, we had a Heritage Parade throughout the building. And they all participated, having their flags that they created from the various countries that we were celebrating. The students and the staff took anti-bullying very serious. Took anti-bullying very, very seriously. So when Dr. Leverett invited us to paint the town orange, we were really committed to painting it orange because we have a zero tolerance for bullying at Alcott. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen. That does not mean that. That means as soon as we know of it, we address it and we attack it.
There you go.
And then here are a few other celebrations. I was able to celebrate the teachers because the kids get celebrated. They oh boy, if I could tell you so many things between, oh boy, ice cream socials, ice cream every day, surprise, just giveaways, raffles, all kind of things that we do for them. But the teachers need a celebration too. So when we got the information regarding our growth index, the teachers were able to have the celebration there. So they were surprised with that. And it was really, really rewarding. That particular day, our partner from the African American Institute came and she was just so excited that she was able to join us in celebrating with the teachers. And then we participated in the high school's Homecoming Spirit Week. So those are our young men all dressed up on dress-up day. It's ice cream truck, yeah, sure. And then the students and the staff celebrated Halloween. We just, every opportunity we can, we celebrate, and they deserve that. We deserve that because that's how we keep them motivated for coming to school every day. Thank you so very much.
Awesome.
So I wanted to make the connection for us as it related to the index scores, right? So you saw Alcott's index scores and you saw Owen's index scores. And if you look at, they were at like 56, 58%. And so when Ms. Dean talked about the average was 23%, these were the top two elementaries in our district where those index scores were working. So again, I know that we're not at the space that we want to be, but we are in a space that we are growing. Yes. And I wanted to acknowledge, in addition to that, at the end of the school year, last year, we received a letter from the state of Michigan, and I'll let Berdina just explain that letter, but that's exciting news to know that from the Michigan Department of Ed that they are still recognizing schools in the city of Pontiac. So, Berdina, tell them about your letter.
Thank you, Dr. Davison. So I was called down by Dr. Leverett, and I was told to I had something she wanted to share with me, and I read the letter from MDE, and as Jennifer explained to you, schools are either given targeted support, comprehensive support, or advanced support. Advanced, well, you know, like additional targeted support. And Alcott was a targeted support school. And we had worked very diligently, and we were the only school removed from that list at the end of the year. So we were elated. And I thank you for coming to celebrate with my staff. Thank you so much.
So again, students are our number one priority. I'm not going to allow that to go away. That is our number one priority as students, and we are really striving to do our very best to make sure that we educate. And so I like to thank you on behalf of the curriculum and instruction, and every two months or every other month, we will be here to present and to show what we are doing to make that progress. It won't happen overnight, but I promise you, what you saw last year is not what you see this year or even 2 years ago. We are making progress.
I like that.
Thank you so much,
You made
Dr.
me feel a lot
Deverson.
better.
Ms. Johnson, Dr. Kavanaugh, thank you so much. So much. You guys are doing awesome. I'm happy to hear about the incentives and the challenge of making school fun again.
Make it fun again.
So thank you, ladies, both. Any other questions, comments? Thank you, Dot. All right. Next.
Thank you. At this time, I will turn it over to Dr. Deverson. We have an ask. Dr. Deverson.
Okay, I am reading the bear for a service contract, Brain Spring Phonics First Training. The background rationale, Pontiac School District Administration is looking to purchase services for the 24-25 school year in the amount of $25,935. Phonics First Level 1 self-paced course for 21 participants between December 15, 2024 until January 31st, 2025. Funding source will be the MyCLSD grant. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Education approve a purchase with Brain Spring for the amount not to exceed $25,935.
All right, thank you. Trustees, any questions? Yes, VP Bowman.
For this, would this be for both elementaries, or what exactly, the phonics first, the training, will it be a one teacher training, or how, what is the breakdown?
So it's a group of people training, so it's kind of like the train the trainer.
Okay.
So that all schools will have an opportunity.
All right, thank you.
And it is grant funded.
All right, any other questions? All right, if I can get a motion on the floor for approval of the service contract.
So moved.
Support.
All right, it's been motioned by VP Bowman and supported by Trustee Gross for the approval of the service contract, Brain Spring Phonics First Training. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Trustee Gross.
Absolutely. Yes.
Trustee Hannah.
Yes.
Treasurer Terry,
Yes.
VP Bowman,
Yes.
and I'm voting yes. That passes 5.
All right, thank you. All right, next on our agenda, moving down to regular working agenda, Board of Education, VP Bowman.
Good evening.
Good evening.
This is the second reading for the new Board of Trustees use of social media policy. Background rationale, the Board of Education should adopt a board trustee use of social media policy to establish clear guidelines on the appropriate use of social media by trustees, ensuring their online presence aligns with the board missions and maintains the integrity of the educational institution. Below are several key reasons why this policy is necessary. 1, preservation of public trust and professionalism. 2, clear boundaries between personal and professional roles. 3, consistency in messaging from the consistency in messaging and district representation. 4, protection of the confidential and sensitive information. 5, mitigation of legal and ethical risks. 6, encouragement of positive community engagement. And 7, adaptability to changing the digital landscape. In summary, adopting a Board of Trustee use of social media policy will provide trustees with clear guidelines to ensure responsible, consistent, and ethical engagement on social platforms. This policy will ultimately enhance the public's trust, safeguard the board's reputation, and protect the interest of the district and its stakeholders. Recommendation is that the policy that has a Board of Education approve the new trustees' use of social media policy.
All right, thank you. Trustees, any questions?
With this, the second reading, see, we can, that's it, then we can go for approval?
It is approved.
It's on the agenda
For
for
approval?
approval tonight.
Thank you.
Yep, it is approved with the second reading.
Thank you.
All right, any questions regarding that? All right. Can I get a motion for the approval of the new policy regarding board trustee use of social media?
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved by VP Bowman, supported by Trustee Gross for the approval of the new policy regarding board trustee use of social media. Any questions? Roll call.
Trustee Gross.
Yes.
President Hannah.
Yes.
Treasurer Terry.
Yes.
VP Bowman.
Yes.
I'm voting yes.
Good job working.
That passes
Do
5-0.
our committee, so we good. Committee's
All
work.
right, thank you very much. Moving down to operation maintenance items. Dr. Leverett?
The big dog.
Thank you, President Hannah. At this time, I'll turn it over to Marvin for discussion and action of the ARC Environmental Contract Awards request for bid number 24.01, asbestos abatement, BDS Environmental Harrington Elementary School. Marvin.
Good evening, Board, trustees.
Good evening.
Agenda item, ARC Environmental Contract Award Request for bid number 2401. Background rationale, sealed bids for asbestos abatement activity at the Harrington Elementary School were received on Tuesday, November 19, 2024, and opened by representative of ARC Environmental Group Incorporated and School District of City of Pontiac. AEG has reviewed and evaluated the submitted bid from the low bidder, BDS Environmental, and conducted a post-bid meeting to discuss the scope of work and schedule for bid number 24.01. AEG has determined that the submitted bid was inclusive and correct. The recommendation is, it is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Education approve the proposal with BDS Environmental in the amount of $28,900, also requesting a 20% contingency in the amount of $5,780 for the total amount of $34,680.
All right, thank you. Trustees, any question? All right, no questions. All right, next, yeah, move to the next.
Please continue, Marvin.
Agenda item, Harrington Elementary Schools Infrastructure Upgrades Bulletin Number 1, Interior. Background rationale, this bulletin is reflective of an additional drawing comparison reviewed by Saxe Construction between IDS architecture drawings and ARC Environmental National Emission Standards for hazardous air pollutants. Asbestos inspection report. The potential change order for bulletin number 1 includes interior doors, frames, and hardware for removal and salvage, exterior window glass, frame, anchors and ceiling removal, and ceramic wall and floor tile removal. During the bidding process, ARC Environmental provided the report showing any findings of asbestos containing materials inside the school that would need to be removed by an abatement contractor. The bid drawing did not reflect the report in full, which led to mislabeled items marked as not in contract, meaning this work would be done by an abatement contractor. This work notes should have had removed to get captured in the base bid work. To continue To continue meeting project timelines scheduled, this additional scope of work is recommended to be approved. See attached Saxe Construction Bulletin Number 1 write-up, IDS Bulletin Number 1, specifications and drawings, and contractor. Recommendation is the recommendation of the Board of Education to approve Harrington Elementary Bulletin Number 1 interior at a not to exceed cost of $206,702.95.
Okay, help me out, help me understand something. So is this saying that the drawings did not reflect the full report, which led to mislabeled items? So the work was not done, and that was an error? It shouldn't have been that way? Okay, help me out.
Okay, good evening.
All right.
All right, let's get some life in here. Okay, so on the drawings, during the whole bidding process, Arch Environmental did a NESHAP report to see if there's any asbestos-containing materials in the school. During that process, the reports were shared with everyone, and in that review of a SACS review, an IDS review, and Arch review, there were so many items, a few of them got mislabeled as NIC, which is not in contract, which would mean the contractors that are bidding the project wouldn't pick up that work that would be by, which is now the new abatement contractor out there. Upon work starting and just questions being asked, we dug deeper, what our superintendent did, and we clarified a few things. Things just didn't get picked up in full, meaning not every note was changed or detailed, like a window wasn't picked up or a door wasn't picked up to be, no longer asbestos because there's no asbestos material in there. So this bulletin went back through, IDS took their team, went back through, cleaned it up to what the report shows and reads, and this is just a reflection of that. This would have all been a part of the base bid cost from the start, had those notes just been, caught early on.
Okay.
And so, Dr. Hannah, when Marvin and I met with Cody and the team, I believe a few weeks ago, and this was brought to our attention, I believe, by your superintendent, I can't think of his name.
Craig.
Is it Craig? Yes. And we said, we have to be transparent and come before the board and tell them exactly what happened so that we're able to move forward. So I wanted them to clearly articulate that this was truly an error, and this is what needs to be done to repair it and move forward with the project.
Appreciate it.
No doubt, absolutely.
Thank you for that.
Absolutely. We didn't have that in the past. I just wanted to put that out, Doc. I'm sorry, Steve.
Any
I didn't
other
mean that.
questions? Any other questions about it? We good?
Yeah, I'm ready to vote.
Okay. All right, well, let's move down to action item A. Can I get a motion for the approval of the Arch
So moved.
Environment contract? All right. It's been moved by trustee Gross, supported by VP Bowman, for the approval of the Arch Environmental Contract Award request. Any questions? Roll call, please.
President Hannah,
Yes.
Treasurer Terry,
Yes.
VP Bowman,
Yes.
I'm voting yes, and Trustee Gross.
Yes.
That passes 5-0.
All right, thank you. All right, can I get a motion for the approval of Harrington Elementary School's infrastructure upgrades?
So moved.
All right,
Support.
thank you. It's been moved by VP Bowman and supported by Treasurer Terry for the approval of Harrington Elementary School's infrastructure upgrades. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Treasurer Terry,
Yes.
VP Bowman,
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Trustee Gross.
Yes.
President Hannah,
Yes.
that passes 5-0.
All right, thank you very much. Moving down, communications, petitions, and delegations. Do we have any, VP?
There are none.
All right, thank you. Now we'll go to our board comments and announcements. We'll start over here to my left.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
appreciate you. Just real quick. Listen, when information is shared and you're able to hear some things and understand and learn, that makes it a good meeting. Tonight was a great meeting, and I thank you, Dr. Leverett, Dr. Devison, for bringing these schools in, because now we're hearing things instead of waiting until retreats or things like that. We're hearing things on a regular basis, and I am loving it. So thank you. And tonight was just a good thing. I had the opportunity to go over to Walt Whitman for their Turkey Day dinner. I was rushing. I didn't get a chance to eat. Boy, that food smelled good. And the kids, little kids loved it. And just seeing their faces, it was so much fun. And then I had the opportunity to go from there over to the middle school. So I went over there and I got caught up in a lockdown, and I'd never been through one. What's up happening? And they said, oh, you can't leave. Wait a minute. And so I had to sit there on Ms. Robinson's couch and sit and wait till it was all clear. But I had a good time because it gave me the opportunity to actually meet with the kids in their own space, in the hallway, talk with them. I had a good conversation, and one of the young ladies that I met through our reentry group, and this is her second year back, and to see her there. And she's, Mr. Groves, you remember me? Absolutely. And just, it made it a good time. And I truly enjoyed that. And the time before, I had the opportunity to go in and speak to a classroom. And so Ms. Robinson said that the next time I'm there, I got to go into a classroom. And so I'm going to continue to do that. But my point is, when we put fun back in school, like we heard today, right? Kids come, kids stay, kids learn. Because, and I keep saying back in the day, and Kraft and I are good for that, I can probably count on one hand how many days I missed because school was fun to me. And I loved it. And that's what we need to do, and we need to feed off each other and learn certain things, because I think they have, when I say they, Alcott and Owen, have some things to share with other schools, and so we can keep school fun for our children. We had a great crowd at the initial basketball game with our Pontiac Pharaohs. Yeah. So I'm inviting out. We got a game Thursday night at 7 o'clock, and they won. And again, all students are free. You're on the list, so just come and show up, and I can announce your name, and it's fun, and we have a good time. And lastly, I was able to attend this past Tuesday. The only rivalry game we have in Pontiac now is Pontiac High against Avondale. Yeah. And Doc, let me tell you, you missed a good one. That crowd, Ms. Dooley, reminded me of Pontiac Central, Pontiac Northern. Yeah. It was fantastic. It was filled to the rafters where we couldn't let any more people in. Right? And the only question I wanted the announcer to ask is, are we going to see the same crowd at the next home game? And I didn't get that answer. So, but it was an excellent game. The kids had fun. It was good to see Pontiac people out who have been enjoying our athletics. So let's keep doing what we're doing. I won't say happy holidays. I think we got another board meeting before then, and I'll wait till then. But tonight, to me, was an excellent meeting because I'm learning. Yep. And you're always ever learning. And we're doing it for the benefit of children. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Doc.
Secretary David Smith.
Good evening, everyone. This was a great meeting. I love the band, and to see the little bitty people get their acknowledgments and awards, it always makes me happy. I also enjoy listening to Owen and Alcott with their updates. I was wondering how Principal Johnson always had so much parent participation, but I see she actually has a parent goal, which is great. And I just see that we're on the right track academically, and even our sports and things are moving ahead, and we're coming along again to what we once was, as Trustee Grossencraft says. Yeah, so I'm excited, and just want everybody to have a great night.
Thank you. Treasurer Terry.
Good evening. First off, I just want to welcome everybody back. Hopefully you had a good holiday, got some rest in, didn't eat too much, and enjoy your leftovers that you did have. Second off, once again, I want to say awesome meeting again. Enjoyed the students that came in and played with the band. We love music, so I love music, grew up with a lot of music, so hats off to you guys, keep up the good work. And then all of the students that got recognition. I know they're little now, but it's still good to see that we got kids that are on the right path and being those examples for their peers. So I want to take my hat off to them, tell them congratulations as well. In addition, the reports that we received today, I want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Information is power, and knowing that information allows us to make those right decisions and stay on task. It would continue to move Pontiac forward and making this district shine, and as they say, let the phoenix so rise. So I want to say thank you again for the reports. Always looking forward to those, so hopefully more to come. I know as we move along throughout the months, see some of the other schools as well to come out and provide some of their input on some new ideas or outside the box activities that they're doing to, I guess, inspire and I guess encourage the students to do better, to make it a little more fun and enjoy ourselves like we used to back in the day. I can't go far back like you, but when I was there, I did have a good time. Yeah, I had a wonderful time at Pontiac Central over there doing our thing. So
Yes, sir.
other than that, good meeting. Good to see everybody back, and hopefully everyone is doing well. Thank you.
Thank you. VP Bowman.
Good evening. This was a very good meeting, very informational, and again, congratulations to the young people who already went home and probably in bed by now. I just want to thank this community and thank everyone who decides to continue to stay in Pontiac. It's a choice, because in this educational climate, we know that anyone who chooses to work in education can be pretty much anywhere you want to be in the world because of the climate that we're in, with the limited amount of teachers and staff and just in general in the scope of education. So I just want to extend, even to my trustees, thank you all for being a part of this here in Pontiac, because we can be anywhere, but we're here at home pushing for the best of the best, because we have it in us.
Appreciate it, girl. Appreciate it.
I'm no songstress, but if I could sing, I just want to say, fight for Pontiac. I can't call us warriors anymore, but the Phoenix, we're tried and true. We will always fight with all our might, whatever we may do, whether we're on the field, we're on the track,
Or the diamond, or even in the pool.
Fight for Pontiac. What's the new colors? Purple and black.
Purple and black.
But ultimately, I'm proud of our. Oh no, they chose that song. They chose that one. Don't do it. Don't do it. They chose that song. They did. So I'm proud of this community. I know that our numbers may not be what we want them to be right now, but still we rise. Every time I look at the Phoenix, every time I do anything in this community, and I'm walking around with my Phoenix colors and my hat, everybody, what? Yes, all about Pontiac, through and through, no matter what I do, no matter where I go. When I leave, always Pontiac representation. So I'm glad to be a part of this institution. I'm glad that I was elected, some years ago, to continue to fight for my community, because we are worth it and we deserve a fighting chance, because there has been no other school district to reach the heights that Pontiac School District has reached. The lowest that we have been in the deficit, over $50 million, and for us to come out of that, it didn't happen overnight, but we are still rising, and we will continue to rise. So we're not where we want to be, but we're on our way. So Everybody continue to work together, to band together, because this, we can't do it alone. No one can do this thing alone, and we must push for our community and our children. So, it's a great meeting. Have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you, VP. And with that, I say we are continuously moving forward. We are moving forward. I am so appreciative for Mr. Bentley for his quartet that came to serenade us tonight, as well as us acknowledging our team Owen, our babies over there at Owen Elementary, for the great job that they're doing. So I am very proud and pleased with the information that was shared here tonight. Yes. Because again, oftentimes we're asked, we see the scores, we know what the data say, but then they want to know, well, what are you doing? So I think by having our principals and their team here to tell us what they're doing, that speaks to the progress that we are making. As small as it is, you can't take away that we're making progress. And again, we're moving forward. I want to say I hope everybody did have a happy Thanksgiving and welcome back. I do want to offer condolences to the family of Portia Field Anderson, legend here in the city of Pontiac. She did pass away over the holiday break. Services for her will be on Friday. So on behalf of the school district, we do offer our sincere condolences to her family. Resolution will be presented to her during the services, and we will share out at the next board meeting. So I thank everybody for being here, your patience, and just everything that you do for this district. Thank you for your commitment. And with that being said, I will go ahead and adjourn our meeting.
Support.
Okay, it's been moved and supported that we adjourn this meeting. And any questions? I didn't think so. Roll call, please.
Okay. VP Bowman?
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Trustee Gross?
Yes.
President Hannah?
Yes.
And Treasurer Terry?
Yes.
That passes 5-0.
Thank you. Meeting is adjourned at 8:18 p.m. Thank you, everybody, and have